Hello, everyone. I'm Ivana.
And I'm Preeti.
And this is Targum Tea, a podcast which focuses on pop culture reviews and social media. In today's episode, we will be talking about the new Netflix thriller, I'm Thinking of Ending Things. This review contains spoilers.
So I think we can just start up with a bit of a log line about this film. Basically, what it's about: this girl who's just known as a young lady, or a young woman throughout the whole film, and she goes on a road trip, a road trip with her boyfriend Jake. And she's been having some misgivings about this boyfriend, but they go on a road trip to see his parents, and the story unfolds from there.
This film,
Yeah,
I feel like this film was there was a lot of film in this film. What were your initial reactions in watching this movie?
Honestly, I came into this movie thinking about, I thought that it was about somebody who wanted to commit suicide because it said I'm thinking about ending things. So I'm like, it sounds like something to do with suicide to me. So that's what I came in thinking. And then 5 minutes into this film, I realized, oh, it's not about that. It's about the fact that she kind of wants to end things with her boyfriend. I'm like, and now I'm hooked. And I don't know why. I'm just hooked.
I did not watch the trailer. I did not read any descriptions. I just went right into it. Like, I didn't even hear about it anywhere else. And I thought it was about suicide, or when they introduced the male character, I thought he was gonna kill her at the end or something. And the ending was still confusing to me. So I don't even know if I'm right or wrong because I don't even know what happened.
Yeah, I watched this movie twice, and I'm still trying to put it together. I read a bit of, because I ended up watching the movie one time, and I thought, okay, it's going to be kind of straightforward. Like, maybe she dies, gets murdered. I'm like, what's going on? This ending makes no sense. So I had to watch it again.
The whole movie was just, for me, I don't even know how to explain it. I like strange films, right? And I love the strangeness about it. It was just too much concept for me, and there was just too many philosophical ideas. Right, 1 minute they were talking about time, and then the other one was about existentialism, and then it was feminism, and then the next minute it was about love and relationships, and then aging, and then death. And I'm like, there was no room to breathe. And it was just constant philosophical ideas on top of each other. And I don't even.
Yeah, that's actually one of the main things that I wanted to talk about too. So, first 15 minutes of this movie is basically her in the car with Jake driving toward their parents' house. And the one thing that kind of struck me, and it took me a few minutes to actually figure this out, is that she is kind of an unreliable narrator. Because this is basically a thing that in books where you can't trust a person who's telling you the story. And a few things that kind of stuck out to me, and that kind of painted a picture of her to me as one. And one of the things that happened in the beginning of the movie was that they reached his parents' house, and the whole house is basically dark. It's kind of like this gloomy, not pitch black, but kind of pitch black house. There's no lighting anywhere. And Jake turns on the fire while they're waiting for his parents to come down. Then he's like, oh, they're here. So then they go to stop by the stairwell, and then she sees the basement door. And she ends up asking, why are there so many scratches on this basement door? And Jake's like, oh, we have a dog. And she's blown away by that, because she's like, I would have known if there's a dog, there would have been playthings everywhere. Then they turn around and they go into the exact same room that the fire is there, and the dog comes out. And I'm like, girl, it's this room that has closed doors everywhere. There's only one entrance toward that room, and you would have seen a dog there.
Right. It was just so okay. So the beginning scenes for me, all the car scenes, there was just I felt like the conversation was a little bit dull for me. And they were kind of I was trying to enjoy the movie, but the car scenes were kind of a little bit dull to me. And once I was just sitting there, I was just okay, I was watching. Once we hit the scene where they enter the family's house, I was laughing. It was the perfect amount of strange for me. It was just the dog just moving his head all the time. The mom, Toni Collette, is such a great actress. She's like one of the funniest actresses. I don't know. I find her so funny. But she was such a good actress in this film, especially in the house scene. I loved it. It was just like the perfect amount of strange and weird for me. It was just that was the part where it was just like, okay, I'm enjoying this film. And then once they left the house, I was like, okay, I'm done. Like I was thinking about ending this film because I didn't.
I agree. Actually, that's the second thing. Like the pacing of this film was a bit more. Like I mean, I know we're supposed to say like the bad things for last, but I'm just gonna say the pacing of the film was a bit off. As you just said, the car scenes were dull. The
Right?
conversation felt it was some sort of a first date, and they were trying to get to know each other. And I'm just like, you've been like dating for
That's what I was
time. What's this conversation that's going on?
It was a bit, I don't know. I feel like I get what the director, like the writer director was trying to do. And like with introducing all of these different concepts and different like ideas, I just felt like, I don't know, it was a little bit messy for me, but I get what he was trying to do. Like the film was overall intriguing at the very least, but it was just a lot of it messy.
Yeah,
for
I
me.
agree. I think that word sums it up perfectly. Messy. This film is just
Yeah.
messy, yeah.
But I was so confused, like watching it, that I just kept wanting to watch it. So
Yeah.
it succeeded in that because I just kept wanting. It's just like it was weird. I don't know. I one of the things that I've noticed about it was also the cinematography. I liked how it looked. It was like an old timey television feel and like a nostalgia feeling to it. I love the cinematography. The couple of camera, did you notice when they were in the car scenes, they kept breaking the third wall? Like I think it was twice. It was like this weird shot outside of the outside of the car. Did you notice that shot where she just looked back and she stared?
And she looking at me.
I was like, what?
I looked back. I'm like, is there something behind her? Like,
right? It was so strange. And then also when the camera was also outside of the car and she was talking directly to the camera, it was just so strange to me. I'm like, oh, okay. And it just kept making me want to watch it. Like that was the feeling for me. I was just so confused that I kept wanting to watch it.
Yeah, I know. And so I think after they leave the parents' house, which honestly, I think we should just go back to the parents' house a bit, because that was for me, and I think for you, like one of the most brilliant whole scenes in the whole movie. Like that.
Yeah, the family house, yeah,
was brilliantly done. I feel like if they'd spent more time there, I would have been like, this is a really good movie.
Right? Yes, yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah, and I think that was really interesting because they start out with dinner. And Jake just seems to be pissed off. I mean, sorry. He seems to be angry. He seems to be angry for some reason.
It was just, they were all off for some reason. But it was, I like the strangeness. Like, I like weird, like, absurd movies. So that whole dinner scene was just like, it was filling me up. I loved it. I love that, the dinner scene.
Yeah. And I feel like the weird thing was that the mom felt the most normal to me, even though she was like that was like even though she was the one that was like set up to be somebody with some sort of an illness going on.
I think she had like something wrong with her ears.
Ringing in her ears,
yeah.
Something. But I think because the others were acting so out of character from, I think, the normal people that we were supposed to expect, that the mom was like, okay, there's somebody who's kind of acting the way she's supposed to act. So, yeah.
I mean, what did you think the meaning of the film was? Because there's so much, there's too much to unpack that I didn't really. I think the only part that I kind of I understood that the whole film was talking on. It was just talking about a lot of things, like I said, like aging, feminism, death, existentialism. But they had like a very like strong, like the tone of the film was very like, we have a strong dislike for humankind and avoiding society and this and that. Like, I think that was like the overall tone of the film. Mm-hmm. And the scenes that I understood was like with the janitor scenes, like when they just kept showing this, like the janitor having the same routine and like waking up in the morning, cleaning, going to bed, watching TV, waking up in the morning, cleaning, and like kept repeating that. Like, I felt like that was about him not like him just existing in life with no purpose, like he's just existing and not living. That part I understood. But then there was so many ideas being thrown at me that I didn't know where to like
I agree, yeah.
concise the film at.
No, yeah, that's definitely true. I think this was a movie that tried to do a lot of things and it missed out. It got its central point across, but the other things kind of took away from it, you know? But also I want to, so they end up going back from the parents' house after dinner, and they end up stopping at this ice cream shop somewhere down the
Oh my gosh.
road. Then after that, they get back in the car and they stop by the school, and there's this dance scene. I'm just like,
in the high school, right? The dance scene. That was very random, but I liked it. I think maybe I'm biased because I really loved the score, and the score that went along with the dance, like the movement piece. I just love, like, every time I hear flute, I start crying because I love flute, and it's just like it was just, I don't know, I felt like that movement piece was so beautiful, even though it made no sense. I mean, maybe it did. I mean, it obviously made some kind of sense. I didn't understand it, but I still loved watching it, and like the cinematography that went along with the movements, and like the snow falling. I loved it. I love that scene.
I agree. And that scene stuck out to me because that was the last time that we end up seeing this girl. And after this scene, we never see, there are only like 20 minutes left of the movie, but in this scene, we never see this girl again. And how the movie roughly ends is that we see the old guy. We see Jake as an old guy, and he wins the Nobel Peace Prize, and he ends up singing to a bunch of audiences, audience, and he also ends up talking to a pig, which it's confusing. Yeah, the movie ends on that note, and it's really weird, frankly.
It was really weird. I think I feel like I was reading some things, and they were saying how, like, the ending, because, like, he was performing the musical Oklahoma, which he mentioned, like, in the beginning, where that was the song that he loved. And and it was like, I mean, the song was basically talking about love and him wanting to find somebody to spend his life with, and like a wife and whatnot. And I feel like some people were saying how the film, like, ending it like that, it was talking about how he was the janitor, like, as an older person, he was a janitor, and he was basically imagining his own life throughout the film, was like him imagining him with a wife and with this girl. And I feel like, and they were saying how he lost his wife throughout the film or whatever. So then it was like really, it was a confusing synopsis that they were talking about, but they were basically saying how he was the janitor, and he was imagining his life. And I'm like, okay, maybe that could explain him being able to read her brain, read her thoughts and whatnot. It was weird. I didn't really.
Honestly, I think that's true, and on some level, I think that what the main message of this movie is that they were trying to say is that this guy, Jake, he ends up old, and I don't honestly think he ever got married or something, but I think he's kind of imagining his life as like a what if, like maybe like he came home to his parents and he got home a girl instead, like and you know, he got him a girl, and throughout his whole life, like, certain things happened. He still liked the show. He danced a lot with her, and then I don't know, he ended up winning the Nobel Peace Prize. So I think this whole movie was some sort of like a big what if in his life. I don't know.
Wait, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense. The whole movie was like a what if, and he was imagining the whole thing, and that would explain why he was reading, like, he could be able to read her thoughts, why all these strange things were happening, why time was like warping. That makes sense. A what if.
What if? Yeah,
you've done it.
Yeah, we did do it, exactly. So what do you think, just to go back a teeny bit really quickly, what do you think about the ice cream shop? So after they leave his parents' house, they stop at this ice cream shop to get ice cream, and it's the weirdest, like, scene, I feel. Scene. It's odd. So what did you think on that?
I think, well, I mean, in the beginning of the film, we saw those two girls in the high school with him, like, it's as him as a janitor, and they were like making fun of him or whatever. So maybe he was like, I don't know what the whole scene meant, but I just know he was afraid to talk to those two girls because they were like intimidating to him. And I don't know who the other girl was. I really did not understand that. I thought that scene was gonna be like a turning point where like he then kills her, but it wasn't, and it made it even more confusing for me. I did not
agree.
I didn't. What did you think?
I don't know. Honestly, I think that scene may have been a flashback of some sort. So I think Jake did end up killing that girl. Like, the main girl, the main character. I think that even though this whole movie is like a what if, there are some segments of like truth, like this is what actually happened. And I think on some level, he may have killed her because he just seems like the guy who would probably end up being a serial killer or something. He throughout this whole movie, Jake had that vibe coming off him.
Right? That's why. And like the thing that I thought, like why I thought he killed her too, is because remember when they were going inside the school and then she looked to her left and there was a whole dumpster full of the same kind of ice cream they got at the ice cream shop. So it like made me think like, oh, he's done this to so many other girls.
Exactly.
But like because it just this is a film where you have to like watch it a couple times and like actually spend time dissecting it. That's what this film is.
I agree, yeah. But honestly, as you just said, like I love the house scene. I feel like if they restructured this film, it would definitely be a much more better movie. I think that's like my bottom line. Oh my god, I completely forgot to ask. I wanted to talk about one quick thing. What do you think about the internal dialogue thing that they had going on? So so the girl, you could hear her thoughts, and the guy then he would start talking. He's like cut off, and he'd start talking. Then she'd kind of snap back, and she's like, and then she talked to him, and then she kind of drift off into her thoughts again, and you could hear what she's thinking. Right. What do you think about that?
About like all her thoughts?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like people don't think like that, to be honest. And I don't want to like throw shade or nothing, but like just, I don't know. I feel like throwing in paragraphs and stories about sadness and presenting all these philosophical ideas, I don't think that equals to like profoundness. So I don't think, and like, it's just, I don't think people think like that. And like like their thoughts usually are like pretty much, her thoughts were all over the place, but I feel like it was a little bit weird to me, and maybe that was the point of it.
Yeah, I agree. And also, what do you think about how they shot it? Because for me, this is like one of the very first times that I'm seeing a movie that actually has somebody's inner thoughts spoken out, like by the actress who was doing it. I mean, I feel like in most times you would have a narrator that would be narrating this whole film. That's how like they would do it. But this was weird. Like you had her thoughts instead of a narrator of some sort. Mm-hmm. So how did you think about that and like how they shot it? So
how he kept interrupting her and like how like also, well, I mean in the dinner scene too, they also kept interrupting each other a lot, and then she kept thinking, and then it was it was kind of, yeah. I mean, maybe that was the point of the film too. I feel like everything they made was a choice. So maybe I feel like everything was just all intentional in the film, but it's just off for some of us. You know, like because I feel like a bunch of people had the same kind of reaction where it was just like a little bit off-putting. Mm-hmm. But I saw that a lot of people also found it very profound and intriguing and this and that. And I'm like, yeah, it was intriguing, but I don't think it was the level of profound that I think they were trying to do.
I feel like you and I would think that would be profound. Like it just superficial profoundness. Yeah. But yeah, so out of 1 to 5 teacups, 1 being terrible, 5 being great, how would you rate this film?
I feel like this film is not even, I don't even know. Like, I feel like this is more of a theory than a number. I don't know how to rate this because it was just like, oh my god, what would you rate it? I don't even know what to
I
rate
would rate it, actually, I thought about this one time. I would rate it as a 3.5. I mean, definitely, I would say they tried. I'm going to say that they tried, but this movie just seemed to be a mix of Get Out, of like, you know, any other horror movie that you watched. And I feel like they try to throw so many things in one place and make it really good that they missed out on a lot. But at the same time, I would say watch it. It's not the worst movie.
Right.
Right?
I think I would rate it, I mean, the movie had a lot of movie in it.
That's true.
I would rate it like, I mean, on a scale of 1 to 5 teacups, in enjoyment wise, personally, like enjoyment, not even like if it was great or whatever, in enjoyment, I would rate it 2 teacups.
2 teacups, yeah. So I think we're kind of close to 3.5.
Oh, you know what? Let me change it. I'll rate it 2.5 teacups out of 5 in enjoyment for myself because I really like the dinner scene.
Great, I agree. Yeah. I actually agree. I feel that was the highlight. If they'd done more, I mean, I'm saying this again and again, but
that was a highlight.
Overall, I expected more because I did hear that people enjoyed the film. So I kind of expected more. It wasn't exactly let down, but it was kind of let down.
Right.
Yeah, okay, so join us next time on Targum Tea for more reviews, and make sure to follow the Daily Targum on our Twitter, Insta, Facebook, and YouTube for more content.